This podcast is associated with Inland Caregiver Resource Center located in Colton, California. We bring to you, our listeners, a new way to help families and communities cope with and manage the challenges of caregiving. ICRC has provided assistance with caregiving since 1985 and is a part of 11 statewide resource centers as well as the National Alliance for Caregiving. We bring you the first ever episode of Inland Caregivers Corner. Hello, listeners. Welcome to episode 1 of Inland Caregivers Corner. I will be your host for this podcast. My name is Derek Chacon, and I am an intake specialist for ICRC. I began with ICRC in September of 2019, and after being a guest and recording many podcasts, I wanted to use this skill to provide another way for caregivers to gain information, resources, and tips on caregiving. The purpose of this podcast is the hope that it's an audio respite for the listener and those consistently providing care, motivation, and encouragement to their loved ones, family, friends, and communities. What the Inland Caregivers Corner podcast hopes to provide our listeners is encouragement, factual information, and professional perspectives on caregiving. We will speak with employees and colleagues from ICRC, members and partners of the caregiving community, and members of the counties ICRC serves, which are San Bernardino County, Riverside County, Inyo County, and Mono County. We hope to also interview representatives from other agencies interested in providing assistance to caregivers and seniors. Today, on the first ever episode of the Inland Caregivers Corner podcast, we have Eva Zamora, one of many of ICRC's awesome outreach and education coordinators. Hi, Eva. How are you?
Hi, Derek. I'm pretty good. And yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying a nice AHA. It's a strawberry, no wait, it's lime watermelon. So it's delicious. Psyched for this interview.
Is it like a bubbly drink or what is that?
Yeah, it's a carbonated sparkling water. It's really
Fancy.
Good. Yeah, it's delicious. So I guess we'll go ahead and start with tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for ICRC.
Okay, so again, my name is Eva. I am currently one of the 4 outreach and education coordinators for ICRC. I actually started as an intake specialist, so kind of like what you do, Derek, in early 2019. I got the opportunity to assist Crystal with some of our outreach events, and I really enjoyed doing that with her. So when a position opened up with the department, I applied, and here I am.
Nice. Yeah. So for those listening, Eva was an intake specialist when I first started with ICRC, and she trained me on being an intake specialist. So I got to really hear firsthand about ICRC from Eva, as well as another colleague of ours. So now that you've made the switch from intake specialist to outreach coordinator, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, how has that impacted outreach services?
So we're still serving our clients. We're still doing our best. Just the only thing that's impacted would be more the face-to-face part of it. We are obviously not able to do these classes in person or the support groups, which I know we all enjoy to see each other's faces, kind of put a face to the name, especially when you're, just over the phone. So it's really difficult just because of California stay-at-home order. It's for the best. It's to keep us all safe, especially during these unforeseeable times. So we're doing our best, just bringing everything virtually.
So with providing services virtually, how did that begin? In the beginning, when we were sent home and said, we're going to be working remotely for a little bit. Was there a discussion with other coordinators saying, this is the route we're going to go to? How did using Zoom as a tool for outreach come about?
So once we were told that we'd be working from home, Crystal told us about using Zoom. So we started getting on trying to get the classes back up and running, even if it was um, online. It is a little difficult just because not everybody is tech savvy or has the proper equipment for the video chat style that Zoom is. But it's getting better. A lot of our clients have picked it up. So we're able to provide the classes, support groups, and things like that via Zoom.
Actually, didn't really ask, but what is an outreach education coordinator for those who are listening? How would you describe your position?
I describe it as communicating with the community, uh, explaining to them our services, trying to get as many people to contact us in order for us to help them with what they're doing, what they need for their caregiving needs, any information that they'd like to learn regarding caregiving, or even partners, any agencies that provide respite. We do that. We contact them. We go out to health fairs and just meet with the community to see what we can help with.
I know there's that health fairs aren't able to go about the way we were used to doing it, like going out and having a table and having people come up to the table, things like that. But I did receive information that there was a drive up health fair recently. Were you able to attend that?
Yes, those are great. I was so excited after, I think it's been what, 3, 4 months that we've stayed at home, and we were able to work with some partners and doing like a drive-through style health fair. So the community just gets in their car and we still set up our tables. We all wear our masks. We all have, the a little more than 6 feet, which is perfect, per table to kind of spread out. And we give them some informational brochures and things for them to take home. So it was great. I felt like a puppy, just excited to be out and about and meeting with the clients and meeting with our partners. It was great.
That's awesome. So, what type of benefits of attending an education workshop or a Facebook Live session, which I know that that's new as well, that you guys have been doing? Um, how has that been? And what would you say are the benefits of attending these types of workshops? Because this is great information that you, Crystal, and many of the other outreach and education coordinators are putting out there. So, what would you say can be beneficial towards those towards attending those groups, those
So
education classes?
So little by little, we've been getting more of a crowd, which is great. I know this whole trying to get Zoom up and running, people trying to have ways to get on it, even if it is just by calling in. It's been difficult, but it's getting there. So even though they are online, the same information would be provided as if it were in person. So we like to provide an array of subjects. So we have things going on from Dementia 101, self care. So the benefit for this would be just learning about these different subjects. Also picking up tips and tricks on how to cope with their caregiving situation. Um, Even if our caregivers have attended these classes before, um, I feel like it still serves them as a reminder to continue using that information to keep pushing forward. So these workshops and Facebook sessions, support groups are very, very important. I recommend them, especially to the new caregivers.
Okay, that's good. In my experience of seeing the type of topics that you guys put up for Facebook Live or education, it really is informative and has definitely even taught me aspects of dementia or even some common traits that can help with my job in comforting a new caregiver who's calling in and asking about services. So it's really beneficial, and especially ones on dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Um, I think those are the big three of diagnoses that we see a lot.
Absolutely. Before working here, everything was just one to me. Everybody just forgot everything. That's dementia. But taking these classes, absolutely love them. You learn the differences. You learn, hey, that's what my loved one has. So now you get to get a little more information. You can feel like there's something that you can link their behavior to make you feel a little better, and see what items you can use, what tips, um, to make this whole process for you and for them better.
Yeah, I agree. It's common when I know when I'm speaking with somebody and they say my loved one has dementia, I automatically think of just dementia, but it's dementia and Alzheimer's, or it's, dementia and Parkinson's disease. It's not all the time, but at times can be connected to each other. Have you had any experiences with caregivers prior to working with in ICRC?
So prior to this, I would have never thought, you know, I was a caregiver, or anyone in my family taking care of my grandmother as a caregiver. Um, so yes and no. Yes, because we were doing it before we were given this name as caregivers. Uh, but a lot of us are still trying to figure things out, and we still kind of don't like the name caregiver, just because we feel like this is our duty. Um, so but we are caregivers. We're caregiving for our loved ones, our close friends.
Yeah, definitely being from Mexican culture, for me, it's, you take care of your loved ones, take care of your elders. And I know that's common for um, a lot of other cultures as well. And, we don't hire caregivers. We take in our elders if they're no longer able to live independently, or or we just move into their home and take care of them in order for them to stay comfortable. um, and I've experienced it a lot of times where someone will say, but I'm not a caregiver, I'm just the daughter, or this is my mom, this is what I do, this is just what we do. But I think putting it in that category of caregiver is is a title that that shows you're in need of a break also. You're in need of self-care, you're in need of taking care of yourself. um, as a caregiver, your emotions and your feelings matter also. So if you're constantly placing emphasis on caring for your loved one, but yet never providing time for yourself, it begins to, can cause burnout. It can cause exhaustion, stress, even depression, and some types of mental illnesses as well. Um, what would you say to individuals experiencing burnout at this time?
So I think burnout is it's kind of heavy. A lot of people don't recognize the signs, and some do. You experience that fatigue, both mental and physical. You're angry all the time. So I would just say, now's the time. Once you start feeling that way, it's the time to take a pause for yourself and change in the direction that things are going. You want to stay positive. I know it sounds easier to say than do, but that's what will work best for your current situation, because whatever you're doing, it's going to affect what you provide, the type of care that you provide for your loved one, or family member or friend. Um, if you don't take care of yourself, the effects of that are gonna show. You're gonna have poor health. You're not gonna be able to take care of your loved one like you said you would. Asking for help is a big one. We try to take on that whole role of caregiver, or I'm the oldest, I'll do it on my own, or that no one's gonna take care of them like I do. So it's very important to ask for help, even if it is a family friend or family members, or even in the community. So agencies like us are available to provide this type of help. And I guess I would also say, try to focus on what you can control. You can't control their disease, you can't control their behavior, so you can just work around it and try to do the best that you can.
Yeah, I definitely want to say too that you don't necessarily have to live in home with a person to be a caregiver. Also, I know there's many people who live separately from their loved ones, but yet are always at their home every day, are bringing them food, are providing grocery shopping, are gaining them essential items like toilet paper and things like that. And I mean, I would consider them caregivers too. That can also bring out some burnout too, because you're constantly still providing care for your loved ones, even if you may not, live in the same home. That can still be a full-time job, and that can still be considered caregiving. So that was another thing wanted to bring up, because many people don't necessarily think they're caregivers when they don't live in the home and they're not providing 24/7 care. I mean, even the act of going to the market for mom, and dropping them off groceries, because especially at this time with the whole pandemic, you don't want them out because they're highly susceptible to COVID-19. That's a form of care, and I feel would be a caregiver. I think you would agree also.
Absolutely. Even if it is just getting them groceries, I personally absolutely love the fact that you want to keep them as independent as possible, but still help them whenever you can. Um, Kind of keeps you a little sane, because you're not living with them 24/7, but you're still
Yeah.
running around for them. So, you still have your space per se to kind of take a breather, before you get back to, helping them do their laundry or cooking and cleaning for them, and then heading back to do your laundry and cooking and cleaning for yourself.
Yeah, definitely take time for yourself. I think that's the biggest takeaway when becoming a caregiver, is even if it's a minute to breathe, or 20 minutes if you have the time to listen to this podcast. It's great to hear that you're doing a great job. You are providing care, and in order to better provide care, take that time to have a breath, have a cup of coffee, whatever it is that you enjoy. Take that moment, so that way you're able to take care of your loved one to the best of your ability. Um, with caregiving, especially as a community, what would you say is one thing that listeners should know about outreach and education?
We are here to help. Our job is for you, because of you. So whatever you need that we can provide, more information on different types of dementia. You need, maybe information on one type of dementia. You need more support groups, workshops, things like that. We're here to help. I know it sounds silly, but we really are. We're doing our best, and we want to make sure that we can help all of our caregivers, because what they're doing is tough. I know taking care of myself is tough. So I can only imagine yourself plus another adult that you may be taking care of. Um, so let us just help you with your caregiving journey.
Just like our mission statement says. Um, so, with that being said, any encouraging words for listeners out there who are caregivers, new caregivers, or even people who just care about the community and want to motivate others? Any encouraging words?
Absolutely. I've got a couple. So my personal one is fake it till you make it, especially for the new caregivers. You're new to this, so you don't even know where to start, where it's going to end. So just one step at a time. Hey, today went well. And if the next day didn't, that's fine. We're just hoping for an even better day the day after. Um, caregiving is tough. So let's try to be confident, and you'll eventually find a solution to your problem. Even if it's not immediate, it'll come up. Stay focused, stay flexible, try to stay productive. I know you're already running around being busy, but what I mean by productive is maybe set up a schedule, something that works for you and your loved one, um, both in good and bad times. Uh, be less afraid of these experiences, and maybe just it'll help strengthen your relationships and skills, especially under pressure. Caregiving is never the same. One day you'll have a good day, the next day it'll be an okay day.
Yeah, you definitely hear that a lot. That each day is different, and I think that's a good way. That's a good way to look at life too. I mean, life's never consistent. It's always going to be different. So to encourage our listeners and caregivers, I would say, you're definitely building these skills of, I'm just going to say grit, but you're building that grit of being a strong in emotion and strong, even physically, because of a lot of the tasks that you do, provides a lot of strength for you. So you're definitely benefiting a lot from the experience of caregiving. And then also too, just with relationships, I mean, you're spending a lot of time with your loved one, you're enjoying that time with them, you're getting to know them even more than maybe you had in the past. So I think that those are all positive outlooks that can be seen with caregiving. With that said, I just wanted to thank you for informing us on outreach and education. And is there any upcoming classes or things we can look forward to in November that outreach is coming up that maybe you're excited about?
So yes, so we do have a couple of things in November. November is our National Caregiver Month. So we will be coming up with some things to celebrate our caregivers. It is also, I believe, Social Worker Month. So we work with a few social workers. So we'll have something for them, and just some new classes.
Perfect. What's the best way to find out which classes are coming up? Would that be Facebook?
So we actually have both. We're posting them on Facebook, and then we're posting them on our website, inlandcaregivers.com. On the events part or events calendar, it'll give you the entire month of the classes that we're planning to have, and education workshops and caregiver support groups.
All right. And then do you happen to know the Facebook Live link, or not Facebook Live link, but you know how they have a link to get right to your Facebook page?
So facebook.com/ICRC 1985.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eva.
Also, easiest way, if you don't have any internet available in your area, you can always give us a call at 800-675-6694.
Perfect. So thank you so much for your time, and continue providing education and outreach for us. You all do a great job, and I hope that this has been informative for listeners. And once again, you can find all of our education classes as well as Facebook Lives at facebook.com/ICRC 1985.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. And again, if you listeners have questions, concerns, please feel free to give us a call.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the first ever episode of the Inland Caregivers Corner. I'm extremely excited to finally have this first episode out, and I hope you will join us again next month for our next episode, where we'll be discussing caregiving during the holidays. Holiday seasons can be a stressful time. Add that to the daily stresses of caregiving, and it can be overwhelming. Inland Caregivers Corner will be providing information on how to maintain stress during the holiday season while caregiving, and tips on what to do if that stress becomes overwhelming. If you, your neighbor, a friend, relative, or colleague are in need of resources with caregiving, please contact Inland Caregiver Resource Center at 800-675-6694. Or you can send us a friend request on Facebook at facebook.com/ICRC 1985. You can follow us on Instagram at Inland Caregiver. And of course, our website, www.inlandcaregivers.com. Keep listening to Inland Caregivers Corner for information and resources as we continue to master the challenges of caregiving together. I'm Derek Chacon, and continue to care for yourself, your loved ones, and your community.